Hey everyone, we are live. It's Arsenal Fan Circle here. As a concession to Tony, I didn't put the countdown clock in. I was feeling generous towards Tony. That won't happen very often, so you see that for the first time ever. Listen, everyone, pull up a chair. Arsenal Fan Circle here. Everyone is welcome, right? Hey, if it feels like I'm a little bit out of practice, it's because I've been off for a little bit, and we'll be doing some things intermittently for the next 5 weeks. So, with that being said, I'll invite Tony. Tony, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm here. I don't know if we invite Elon Musk on or not. He might kind of screw up our Twitter.
And we got Sam. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good, thank you, Raymond.
All right.
And Tony, nice to see you guys. Thanks for having me on again.
You call
Tony,
him Raymond, but you don't call me Anthony.
Andonis. I call you Andonis.
usually when you hear that, Tony, that means you're in trouble. If I hear my full name, I'm
Full
in
name.
welcome to Tybe and welcome to Gunners 007 Raven. Evening, everyone. And Rudy,
Big
of
up,
course, is
big
here as
up, big
well.
up. There he is.
For
Rudy,
Radio.
Taib.
All right. So we're going to get through a few things. I thought it would be good to look back at the where we are right now. 14 games in. It should really been 16 games, but two of the games were postponed. Two of the weekends were, of course, the direct one with Manchester City on October 20th, and the Everton game when the Queen unfortunately passed away. So yeah, 14 games in, Sam. Um, I think we can safely say you know the team that we are after 14 games, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
a good barometer of where we are, right?
it is definitely worth when you get into Christmas, which we will be the next time we play football. That's definitely. I mean, you're nearly halfway through the season, so it's about time you can actually say, okay, we're actually doing pretty well. We can actually let ourselves, you know, actually say it as it is and say that we are in a title race. I mean, when you're top of the league, 5 points ahead at Christmas, which we will be, then you have to say you're in a title race. And yes, the most important part of the season is yet to come. But that's where we are at the moment. That's what you got to say. It's just the truth.
Yeah, definitely. Let's shout out a few other people in here. BX Gunner's in. He was definitely missing us on Thursday, but we're here today. BX Gunner, morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Lombard Camp's in the house. Big up the gang. Hi, Ray. Sam. Hi, Tony. Tuna.
Big up Taib.
Sam, the voice of Qatar. Ray, the voice of Kahoot. But
Little bit.
ready. There won't be any Kahoot. This is just we're all kind of like. I think we're all kind of like just recharging our batteries a little bit. You know what I mean? I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are, and Stan especially has said that as well. He's taking the break as well. Tony, the voice of reason. I read Man City are having an inquest as to who decided to sell two first teamers to Arsenal, and that's part of what we want to talk about today. So, Tony, let's start with that then. Manchester City selling Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko to us.
And they were kind of spare players there, bringing players in like Holland. So Jesus probably was always a be wanting to go away. Didn't want to remain second fiddle forever. Knows Arteta. Zinchenko knows Arteta. So I think it's hard to convince. I think we played a fair value for both of them. Not
Mm-hmm.
too much of a Premier League tax, a little bit on Jesus, but it's been worth it. So, all in all, good business by us. They didn't have too much choice. Players looking for first team football, World Cup. They're to be forced into selling some players. So, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Sam, I think it was 45 million for Gabriel Jesus. You know, probably paid a little bit over the odds, but um, not terribly over the odds for 45 million. I think Was Zinchenko around 30 million?
I think so. About
If I
that.
remember. Really said Man City have put Arsenal on the no trade policy list. I think this is the thing that's been happening already. Is like, and Sam,
Yeah, but the thing is, right, when you think about it, I mean, hindsight's always great, isn't it? Hindsight's always 2020. When they sold us Jesus and Zinchenko,
mm-hmm.
they weren't thinking we were going to be 5 points ahead of them at Christmas. There's no way they were thinking we were going to be rivals for the title this season. No one saw this coming. No one.
Yeah.
I mean, only Ty and a couple of other deluded Arsenal fans would have, probably maybe predicted something like that. But everyone else were like, no, we're going to be happy going into the top four. We're going to solidify a top four spot this season, maybe third, at least fourth. We're not going to be a title challenger. That's where. But that's
I said it.
What you said was going to be a title challenger. Well, you must have been high on dope then when you said that.
Didn't I, Ray?
Because
I don't remember half the things you say. You
don't remember the pretenders or contenders when I hosted, and
yes, yeah, that was it. 5 or 6 games into the season. To be fair,
wasn't that many.
That was 5 or 6 games into the season. Before the season, you definitely weren't saying we were going to be title contenders, Tony, even when you were fucking high. Anyway,
it's about 4.
Let me finish my point. Fucking hell, shut up.
Gary's not even here.
So what I'm saying is, that it's easy for them to say that now. When they sold us Jesus and Zinchenko, they didn't think we were going to be title rivals, and they weren't looking at us as rivals. So I think it's a bit cheeky for them to come back and have that kind of stance now. And it's probably all bollocks anyway, because I don't believe half the shit that comes out in the media.
Yeah. I think the fact is as well, Sam, that the Manchester City had to sell players in order to bring Haaland in. And some kind of financial fair play was needed in that situation. So they had to sell players to somebody, and the Premier League is the richest league in the world. So they were going to be able to recoup a decent amount of money through, let's not forget Raheem Sterling going to Chelsea as well, but also through Arsenal picking up Jesus and Zinchenko. So, City sold 3 players for the best part of 100 million.
Yeah, the thing is, I think we were the team that were willing to pay the most, at least for Jesus, because we really wanted him. And I think Zinchenko, it was also a matter of, I think we were also one of the highest bidders, and I think Zinchenko wanted to come to us, and he wanted to come to Arteta. So,
yep.
It was a matter of those players wanting to come to us as well. But it was when they sold us those players, there was no one was thinking we were going to be rivals already now this season. No one. So I just think it's bollocks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's bring in Mahir on the same point. Hey, Mahir, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah, man. How's it, guys? My guys.
Yeah. How you doing, bro?
So what we're talking about now, Mahir, is, one of the 5 points I want to talk about. We're 5 points ahead of City. I want to bring in 5 points in terms of how we are at this point ahead of Manchester City. The first one being Manchester City sold us Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko.
Okay. Yeah, man. In my personal opinion, what are they crying about? What's this whole? Oh, we're not going to sell any more first team players to Arsenal. They weren't first team starters. I just said they weren't first team starters. We all know they weren't first team starters. There were no teams looking at acquiring these 2 players, even they know the quality that Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus bring to any team would take them up a level. Not who would have known it would have been this level with us. But why are they crying? Why don't they want to sell it? We don't want any of your players. We don't need anybody extra. It's fine. Keep the players. I just don't understand the whole ideology behind that.
So the ideology is you want to sell to a Premier League club, but you don't want to improve them to the point where they're going to be better than City themselves. And maybe they miscalculated what Gabriel Jesus would do for us, what Zinchenko would do for us, and probably calculated correctly. Raheem Sterling going to Chelsea wouldn't boost Chelsea up so much that it would be a decent competitor to City.
But I mean, like, they weren't starters. Guys want to be starting. They want to be playing football week in, week out. They went and replaced with Haaland, and they got Alvarez, and they've got who's in Shevchenko. There's plenty of
They got a Leeds player,
yeah. I mean, they've got
Calvin.
enough midfielders. Is where Shevchenko really actually plays. But what are you moaning about? Like, just because they've improved our team so much, they would have improved any team a level up. I don't understand even. And is it, yeah, exactly like BX is saying. And just a shout out to the Arsenal fan circle family in the chat. I see you all. Much love and appreciation that you guys joined us this evening.
And Tom makes a good point. Look at his last comment, right? Tom makes this is the hypocrisy of of Man City or the media.
That one.
Yeah. No, not that one.
Although that's a good point.
I said his last comment, the bottom one.
Oh, okay. Let me catch it. Notice how no inquest has been rumored over the sale of Sterling. Is that correct? Yeah.
Sterling was a good player for City. Yeah, he wasn't exactly starting every game anymore, as Mahir said, but he was still in the first team squad. Gets sold to Chelsea. Would definitely be strengthening Chelsea, right? But since Chelsea are shit, no one's worried about it. It's because Chelsea are shit. But now, Arsenal, all of a sudden, Arsenal are top of the league. It's like, oh my God, we sold to Arsenal. We can't do that. Oh no.
Yeah, for sure. What we've done as well, Sam, is we've replaced maybe Lacazette with Gabriel Jesus, so we definitely have upgraded there.
That's like selling your Fiat Punto and getting a fucking Ferrari. That is.
Yeah, and Mahir bringing in Zinchenko where Kieran Tierney was, and adding an extra layer of insurance against injury for Kieran Tierney.
Ray?
100%. That's what I don't understand. And not only that, it's coming from a world-class manager in Pep. Pep, you've just gotten two evil strikers. One that may be from another planet.
Yes.
Who you replace Jesus with, who wasn't going to be playing week in, week out as your main striker.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, my days, man.
Well, Tony, you want to jump in with something?
Yeah, I want to defend myself. I was wrong. It wasn't September. It was August when I said it. Because I said it before Man United game.
Yeah, and that was after 5 games. So that's fair to a point, right, Sam?
There wasn't too many other people saying we're not going to second at that point.
After 5 games, we're winning 5 games, we're looking good. It's like, oh, maybe we might be able to do something here. That's not a prediction.
Well, you wouldn't have said that we could be 5 points ahead by the World Cup.
No, but we were looking good, right? So at the time, you were like, oh, something's happening here. Where before the season, we didn't see those 5 games coming before the season, did we?
Yeah, no. And we
Fuck
definitely
me for being positive.
Those were 5 games that if we're a good team, we go out and win those 5 games. We beat Palace away from home. We beat Leicester at home 4-2. Go away to Bournemouth and win 3-0. Fulham 2-1. We overcame adversity there with Mitrovic stealing the ball from Gabriel Magalhaes and then winning the game at the end. And then going on and beating a Villa side who are not very good, but with 4 days rest right after that. So, yeah, we started out of the blocks with 5 wins out of 5. So, very good stuff. Let's take Manchester City's. They win 2-0 at West Ham away from home with Haaland scoring both goals. They win 4-0 at home to Bournemouth, a game that they should win. Newcastle have give them a tough game. It's 3-3. Newcastle are 3-1 up. and City come back to draw that game. So they actually drop some points there. And then Palace come and go 2 goals up at the Etihad, and City take over that game, win 4-2. And then they beat Nottingham Forest 6-0. So yeah, they've dropped 2 points in those 5 games. And so at that point, at the end of August, Tony, we have a 2-point difference with City.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all. So listen, we're going to bring on 5 points as to why we were possibly 5 points ahead of 5 talking points as to why we're 5 points ahead of City. The first one was brought up by the chat box, and I have it here as well. City selling Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko to us. They've made us stronger, while they've maybe weakened themselves a little bit. But as Mahir said, they went and got Haaland, they went and got Alvarez, they went and got Calvin Phillips. So they've strengthened, right?
100%. 100%. They've actually strengthened their squad.
So Sam,
Like for like.
the second point I want to make, Sam, is the focus City could have on the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see, as the season comes to an end, if we're still ahead, I think we'll probably see Guardiola and City focus more on the Champions League with their squad rotation, because that's the one he wants. I think that is the trophy he wants with Manchester City, the one he's been waiting for. So yeah, I think that could be an advantage for us if they're still in the Champions League. We could still be in the Europa League, which is going to be, make life difficult for us as well, especially if we don't go out in January and strengthen our squad in terms of numbers. So yeah, we could be in a similar situation, but I just think it's gonna be our advantage if they're still, so like a semi-final stage and later in the Champions League. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this season pans out, isn't it?
Yeah, this could be a season where we are focusing on the league, right? You have to have focus really on one or the other. I mean, you can say you're going to focus on both competitions, but
well, for me, if I can just continue a little bit there, for me, I'm thinking from my perspective, and I don't know what Arteta is thinking, but for me, if we're still leading in the league, we're in that pole position, and we're still in the Europa League as well. For me, I want to focus on winning the league. That's the big one. I want my chickens or my eggs in that basket. Because for me, the Europa League is nowhere near as important as the Premier League. So winning the Premier League is such a bigger achievement, for us or for anyone really, but for us to go, to get that back in our trophy cabinet and take that trophy home again, much more important than the Europa League.
Especially with a thin squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tony, with City, Pep Guardiola, that's the one thing, that's the golden grail, the holy grail, right? The golden egg, the holy grail, whatever you want to call it, that Pep Guardiola needs to get at City, and he's missed on a couple of occasions in heartbreaking circumstances. I think City have gone all in and getting Haaland to get him over the hill, over the hump for that Champions League. But as Sam is saying, their focus, I think, will be on the Champions League, especially later in the season, Tony.
Yeah, they're good at focusing on multiple competitions, but at some point, Pep has to go all in, balls deep on trying to win the Champions League. I imagine that's what the board says to him. Hey, we want you to win the Champions League. You've won enough Premier Leagues. Let's focus on Champions League at some point. So that has to be their target. It has to be his target. He's won it elsewhere. Seen what a couple other managers have done with winning it at multiple clubs, wants to win some more. So I think they're definitely to do all they can to do it this year, especially if we're able to pick up some more points, increase it to 8-9 points, especially if we beat them. one or two times, then we'll definitely see them switch course more towards Champions League.
As Tom said, I think City bought Calvin Phillips to increase their nice lad in the changing room quota. Maher, the voice of steel. So good points there, Tony. Let's expand on that a little bit, Maher. Pep has gone all in to win the Champions League, and he's got to do it with Haaland. He's got to do it maybe with Calvin Phillips. He's got to do it with Alvarez in the team. And yes, he sold Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, but you would say that they've strengthened, especially in those key areas.
Yeah, 100%. Like for like or not, if not better than that.
Yeah.
Because he's Calvin Phillips, the new drink water. Just depends on how you look at that type of question. Because we don't really you don't actually see the likes of drink. Where is drink water even still at Chelsea?
Leicester. Chelsea. Yeah.
But like you're saying, Ray, like for like, if not better.
Mhm.
I'd love to hear. Tony, do you think that they feel that Man City feel threatened by us now since the whole we're not going to sell to Arsenal any more first team players? You feel like
Yeah, I
they're
think they
threatened?
do. I think they do now. They kind of have to,
Yeah.
being 5 points behind us, seeing what the leadership is in Chico and Jesus have done. And I think that's the main thing of bringing them in is just that winning mentality. That's what we are lacking. Instead of grooming players to do it, or instead of went out and bought the players, bought the winning mentality. So it's worked. Pep's kind of know what type of players they are, being there, knowing they're winners. So yeah, they're know that we can challenge them. So I think they're definitely why they switched their practices, selling players to us. They've been selling their players to all the Premier League teams just because they have a value of riches. Like you said, they go out and replenish, get better players. So a lot of those players want
100%.
minutes, especially a World Cup year. Arsenal can offer plenty of minutes. So, of course, the players are going to want to move. They get tired of being on the bench all the time. So, yeah.
I would love to ask the panel a question and the family a question also. Sorry, Tony, carry on. I just want to ask you guys a question as well.
Ask away. We're ready.
Are you guys disappointed or even lightly angry with us being kicked out of? I'm sure you discussed it on a Thursday night pod. That we were kicked out of the what is it? The EPL Cup, the Carabao Cup. So haphazardly, where we can, like certain of us love whatever trophy, like be in it till the end. If there's a possibility that you can go and win the league and do a double, maybe with the EFL Cup or League Cup, but you put out a weak squad and you get kicked out the way you get kicked out because of the performance of players. Does that make you guys angry or disappointed in any way?
Who do you want to go first, man? Here.
Anyone.
Tony or Sam?
Sam. Sam wants to go first.
I'm going to pick Tony.
Go on, Tony, lad. Go on, lad.
I'm going to let you go first.
I'll go if no one else wants to go.
Okay, you go, Ray.
You go, Ray, boy.
For me, it's not about the manager picking the team, a weak team. For me, it's the weak team didn't step up and play well.
Okay.
It's an opportunity for a supposed weak team to stake a claim to be part of the squad. When your number is called to be that player that your manager can rely on. So for me, the players actually failed on the field. And for me, maybe Arteta maybe wanted to not be part of that competition because we are going to have a lot of, let's say, bigger priorities this season.
Just to
But
fry.
also, he picks a team and he wants to know if they're going to be if he can rely on them. So for me, it was the latter part. The second part of that is the players didn't step up and actually
Okay.
say that they wanted to be involved in bigger competitions by winning games like this. We played Brighton. Brighton didn't rotate as much as us. We rotated because we had that Chelsea game coming up a few days later. And look, we don't know what would have happened, but we did win the Chelsea game with a lot of grit and determination. So, Sam, what are your thoughts on it, Sam?
No, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Ray. I think we could have had a stronger lineup because it's still early in the season. I mean, having to rest players this part of the season it's not necessary. But at the same time, I can definitely understand that when we're playing Brighton, who were playing a reserve team, we could play with the players we did, and we should be winning that game. Even with the players who aren't starting games for us, they should be good enough to go out and beat a Brighton reserve team. And like you say, Ray, it's true. The players just didn't perform that day. This is the thing we seem to struggle with some of our backup players. They don't really seem to be up for it when they get chances like this. So I agree. I agree with the team we put out there against a Brighton reserve team. I mean, if it was a Liverpool team or Manchester United, or especially if we're playing Tottenham or an actual big team, that would be different. I would want us to play a first team because I want to win. I want to try and win the tournament. But yeah, when we're playing a Brighton, it's a Brighton reserve team. We can afford to make changes, and like you said, Ray, I agree with you. They just didn't turn up.
Yeah, and it's a situation I think where Arteta needs to know what his squad strength looks like without putting a lot of first team players in there. And
It was their chance. It was their chance to step up to the plate, stake a position for the first team. This is the thing I don't get with these backup players, is they get a chance to shine. They actually get a chance to play in these games, and then they just completely fart the bed.
Yep.
It's like it's this is not good enough. You want to stake a claim in the team, you got to take it. That's the way it works. You don't get 10 games in a row to show that you can find some consistency. That's not the way it works in the Premier League. You've got to actually take those minutes you get and shine in those minutes you get.
Yeah, a player like Cedric, a player like Holding, even Eddie Nketiah, he needs to show the manager that he can be relied upon.
If they want to play Premier League games, then they have to shine in those games, against Brighton reserves, and they didn't. They absolutely didn't. So
at the end of the day, what happened might be a good thing. I hate to say that, but our squad is not strong enough for four competitions. Not strong enough for four competitions.
That's true, because it's another issue you actually have to look at, is our squad is not big enough at the moment to handle all four competitions. Mm-hmm. So we have to be pragmatic about that.
Yeah, and listen, Arsenal fans don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. We all look at our 23-man squad and we can see 5 or 6 players that need replacing. Well, let's get to Tony on that question.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of Thursdays ago. Like you said, I think the players let him down. But let's not forget, we did end up playing 7 of our starters. Maybe made the moves a little too late, but you had Jesus. You had everybody coming out. Had Saka, had Zinchenko. You had plenty of players coming out there. Part of it, I think fatigue does kick in because the way Arteta's been rotating, because in Europa he's been playing Jesus, Saka, maybe not a whole game, but it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes here and there. And another big deal is Eddie Nketiah isn't good enough. The rest of the players aren't clinical enough. We had plenty of chances in that game. Again, not near clinical enough. It's been kind of the biggest story of the year. We've had the chances, we just haven't put enough in there. Luckily, we have the tied with the best defense with Newcastle, only allowing 11 goals. So those missed shots hasn't hurt us. Maybe at some point in the season it will. If Jesus gets hurt, gets tired, fatigued, missing from after the World Cup, might miss a few games. So when we're sitting there with Eddie and Kedia, nobody else out there, we might be hurting for goals. Might see us lose to Newcastle, Spurs, or United, the teams we have coming up in January. But all in all, too thin of a squad. I think that's the biggest thing. But as everybody else said, the backups just didn't do what they were supposed to. Arteta brought the starters on late after we're already down 2 goals.
Yep.
I think he's looking to make subs earlier than that, but just
And Tony, I think
it's not that big of a loss to me. I would have thrown it away, but yes, Ray.
no, and I think the reason why he brings the starters on as the subs late in the game, he's definitely given those second choice players the opportunity to go and prove that they can have a place in a squad for a Premier League game. They can be relied upon in the FA Cup and the Europa League when we go deep into it as well. Anything else, Tony, on that point?
Nope.
We do hate to say it, a cup competition, but we all know our squad's not deep enough to hold 4 competitions. Hendon Gunner's here. Good to see you, Hendon Gunner. Glad to say that I'm not watching any of the World Cup, and I'm not really watching it either. Tony's not watching it. I don't know about Sam and May here, but
I'm watching it. Yeah.
Nah. Oh, well, sorry. Did I say no?
Yeah.
I mean,
I want my time back today. Today was absolute crap.
I know. I'm not watching any of those low key.
I'm not watching those teams play anymore. That's for sure.
Those 2 teams were.
So just wait until you can come to Oklahoma in 4 years, and we can go to Kansas City, Dallas, see some games.
Yeah, and it'll probably be Iran against fucking I don't know, Peru or something.
Which individual player holds the record for the
Ecuador and
longest
Qatar.
in
Yeah.
the league? I don't know already, but hopefully you'll tell us. So listen, that's the we're into two of the reasons why we're possibly 5 points ahead of City right now. The third one being Tony. I'll go with Tony first. Manchester City are leaking more goals than usual.
Yeah, their defense hasn't been nearly up to par. We've kind of closed in with them the last few games on goal differential. They were higher up there. Their defense was doing better, but it's last month not near as good. Starting to become more and more holy. See if Pep tries to make changes for it. But 2 hasn't really mattered too much when you have Holland with 3 hat tricks as quick as he did, fastest ever. Lots of braces in there. They've been scoring goals. Still think there's 7, 8 more scored goals than us. But I'd rather be like us and Newcastle, only allowing 11 goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good at this point of the season. Hopefully it holds up. I think it will with our 2 brick shit house center backs. I mean, it's hard to get past them. It gives Ramsdale less work to do. And we've kind of fixed the high line thing. Teams aren't getting behind us like they were. So hopefully that keeps up, but hopefully City keeps leaking goals. I thought they would drop some more points before the World Cup. Thought they'd come a little bit quicker than the last game before the World Cup. They dropped the points. Now we got a 5-point advantage. Now we need to reinforce, take advantage of it. Not fucking diddly around like we did last year when we had 70% chance of top 4 twice. Lost 6 of our last 11. So it's all in our hands. It's in the dude's hand to be calling everybody up, see who is available, seeing who we want, what they want for them, and talking to the players, seeing what they want, selling them on the project, and hopefully getting them in and to buy very early in January and have a ground running, because January will not be easy.
Welcome to the show, Troy. Hello, you 4 legends. Thanks, Troy, for being with us. We're trying to bring
Yeah,
you some
Troy.
Arsenal content. Let's not forget about Arsenal. 36 days till December 26th. So, Sam, Manchester City, this is the third reason why we can be hopeful, right? Manchester City are leaking goals. I think teams can look at City now and say they have half a chance of scoring a goal, at least 1 or 2 goals against them.
Yeah, Manchester City aren't the fortress they used to be at the back. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think one, I think teams have learned, more how to play against City, what strategy works, to play more direct in behind them. They play a high line. They take a lot of risk. So when you play direct, quick in behind them, you get chances. I think teams have learned how to do that against Manchester City. And also, I think they're making more individual mistakes. I think they were more disciplined before. Seasons, they go up and down, right? I mean, one season where everything sort of goes your way, and another season where you'll have a few more mistakes, a few more errors. And I think so far this season, they've shown that they've got more personal errors there at the back as well. So when you combine those two things, you get more goals against them, and that's definitely an advantage for us, because that means they're more likely to draw or lose games, which they have done so far this season.
Yep.
They're so incredibly good at attack, though. We've seen them already at least 3 times this season come back from at least 1 or 2 goals down and still win the game. So that's how good they are going forwards. But it also shows their vulnerability at the back. Yeah.
As you mentioned, in their first 5 games, they were 3-1 down to Newcastle, came back to draw the game 3-3. They were 2-0 down against Palace. I know at the time we were talking about it, and they turned it around to win 4-2. So I think City are rightly so. They're changing the way that they're playing. They're trying to accommodate for Haaland, and they are not as strong at the back as they have been. We've seen in recent times Cancelo getting sent off for that professional foul. You can argue whether it was a penalty or not against Fulham, and Pep almost saying, just let the player go through. You don't know what's going to happen. Your goalkeeper could make a save for you. Now you're a man down against Fulham. Turned out they were able to turn that game around with some hijinks from Kevin De Bruyne. But Mahir, your thoughts on Man City? They've been leaking goals more this season. And look, we can be foolish and say we're 5 points ahead of City right now, but they could be the City of 2-3 seasons back where they've overcome these things against Liverpool. Or we could say this is a different City, and they may not be able to do that this year.
It just goes to show how you have to constantly be on your toes with your players as a coach, identifying whether or not, injuries come. Injuries at some time affect every single big team. And we've seen it in our previous seasons when we've needed players, the likes of like Partey, the likes of Tierney, in order to just have that little bit extra that's going to push us over the line. Lucas in the building as well.
Stand the man.
Stand the man. I was.
Big up, stay on.
Yeah, man, just that little bit extra. And when you don't go out there, we'd be fools. We'd be absolute fools if we didn't bring in a minimal of 3 players. I know everybody has their own choices in the
Mhm.
panel, in the family, in the chats. Everybody has their, but at least 3 minimal,
Yeah.
minimal. And I'm
Mm.
thinking, and that's what Man City failed to maybe perhaps do, anticipate injuries. But I mean, I suppose the injury records of Cancelo and Diaz were 2 top class centre backs. Um, who would have known there would be, like something like this would happen, and they'd be out for extended periods where Man City would need them. But that's where, like I say, you go and you strengthen. Arsenal, please do us all a favor. January time is round the corner. Please
Yeah.
give us early or late Christmas presents. It doesn't matter whether you're not
That would be nice.
celebrate Christmas, but
That
please
would be
come
really
on.
nice. Hendon Gunner says, I have a sneaking feeling that Newcastle will win the title. They have no European football to contend with. Got the 2016 Leicester vibe from them.
Ooh,
I've got more of the Leicester vibe from us.
that's interesting.
I'm feeling. I think Newcastle are doing really well. They will do really well to be the finish top four.
I think they'll be top 4. I think Newcastle will be top 4.
There's something about them just makes me, and rival fans will say this about Arsenal, waiting for the bubble to burst. I think the Newcastle bubble will burst. This is an Arsenal fan talking about a rival Newcastle. I think the bubble will burst as well. BX Skinner, I think, feels
They got a good defense is one thing they can always.
yeah. And the Trippier has been playing really well for them.
Yeah, they've managed to get a tune out of Trippier. They got Almiron playing really well now.
Mm-hmm.
They've already got a very good central
Sven
defensive
Botman, I
midfielder.
think, and Dan Burns up there as well. Mr. Tom says Leeds' performance against City on December 28th will depend on how well I'm treated by Arsenal fans in the next month. And that could be a situation where Arsenal come back to West Ham on the 26th. If we beat West Ham at home, Sam, on the 26th, as Tony said, we could stretch it to 8 points.
Yeah, and then if Leeds do their job against City, which we know they won't because they're more leaky than a fucking
Sieve.
I don't know, sieve in a fucking fucking Titanic. They'll more than likely lose. If an upset happens and they win, that's 8 points, and that means all of a sudden the title is in our hands because the 2 games against City then become inconsequential.
Yeah, if we put a gap 5 points right now, I don't feel that's a lot. It's a defeat here.
No, I think anything above 6 for me. Any gap over 6 points is
really puts pressure on.
It has meaning to it because it means that we actually have the title in our own hands.
Yeah.
Stan has a new nickname for a player.
Okay, yeah. Clive says, hi, Hendon Gunner. Hi, bro. That's a possibility, but Newcastle will fall short, but they won't be far off the title, that's for sure. Good evening, Tybe. Hope you're well. I think Newcastle will reinforce in January. I'm not sure Arsenal will do what is necessary to get what we need. I will talk about January in a little bit as well. Long time no see here. Been busy with work on my end. So I think we're all taking this time out to sort of recharge our batteries as well. Ignore my comment on Spurs. All
fake news from Ridley as usual.
With us. My apologies. That's okay. No, but I wasn't going to fact check you, Ridley. You could have let that slide.
You got to fact check Ridley. He's a right sneaky little cunt. He is.
We can watch all matches. Hendon says, bear in mind the Newcastle also have Isak and San Maximum to come back. Yeah, I think they've been out injured, right? Bruno Gummy Bears is doing well for Newcastle. Did you mention the Teabag update? I don't know if there's an update on Teabag.
Yes, there is.
What's the update?
The update is he liked it when a teammate called him Teabag.
Tavares, when Nuno Tavares calls him Teabag, he likes it. Yeah. So that's okay. We call him Teabag.
Too bad Gary isn't here, so we can say, hey, Gary, look, The guy likes being called teabag.
It's a bit like Benjamin White. He likes to be called Benjamin White. So, right?
Yeah.
If he likes being called teabag, that's fine. If he likes getting teabagged, that's fine too.
Number 4, Sam. My number 4 point is the World Cup.
Getting teabagged.
The consequence of the World Cup. We have 10 players. I'm trying to ignore Tony right now. Sam, we have 10 players going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
City have 16.
Yeah, they got a lot more, that's for sure. And all of them have been playing for teams that are going to be going a lot further in the tournament than our players. I think when you look at the players in our squad who are going to be going, far into the tournament, into the later rounds, like the quarters, the semis, and maybe the final.
Yeah.
It's maybe Saliba. Well, apart from it depends on how much time Jesus and Martinelli get. I don't think they're going to get a lot of time. I think Jesus and Martinelli are just going to be substitutes. They're going to get a little bit of time here and there.
Okay.
They're going to be, backups. I don't think they're going to be starting a lot of games for Brazil. But I think Saliba is probably going to start games for France. So we could see him going a long way, playing a lot of games in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I can't really think of any players who are going to be going beyond the group stage, really. I mean, maybe. No, I can't really think of anyone because even our England players they're only going to be backups. Ben White's not going to be playing probably. Ramsdale
won't play.
Ramsdale's going to be backup. He's not going to be playing.
Yeah. He should be the starter, right? He should be.
Yeah, but he's not going to. Southgate doesn't look at form. He looks at how they've played for England 10 years ago. That's what he looks at.
Is Pickford's still number 1 there, Sam?
So he's still Pope. I'm surprised he's not using fucking Tim Flowers from 1994.
Saka will play.
Saka's probably going to play most for us for England, yeah, but it depends on how far England goes. Like I said, it could be them, could be France with Saliba. So that's 2 players. Like I said, Martinelli and Jesus, they're not going to play a lot for Brazil. So for us, it's a bit of an advantage, really, because these players won't be coming back, I don't think, apart from maybe Saliba and Saka. They won't be coming back, with a lot of minutes in their legs.
Our midfield will be playing quite a bit as well. Erdegaard, of course, didn't qualify, so he's not going to the World Cup. But Granit Xhaka and Partey will be playing. So all eyes, I think, will be on Thomas Partey.
I don't think Switzerland will get out of the group. Maybe Ghana will with
Partey.
With Partey, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's a definite advantage to us. We won't have as many. First of all, we don't have as many players going to the World Cup, and we won't have as many playing. Tony,
I think I just want to say, as he Stan doesn't think Saliba will get a lot of minutes. I think he will, because they have an injured centre back now, don't they? Someone got injured. I can't remember who it was, but it means Saliba most likely will be playing.
Konate.
Yeah, he's had 5 caps recently, so I think he probably will be.
I think he will be playing. He's the best defender they've got at the moment, Saliba. He's my
Tony wants to be right about Saliba just once, okay? You've been wrong so far.
But Stan's right. They do have a wealth of young players there, a lot of depth. But I think he'll be playing.
But Tony, it's definitely an advantage for us. The World Cup fallout, and I mean, we have an injury to Thomas Partey that would be critical to us. We have an injury to Gabriel Jesus that will really hurt us. But Man City have a lot of players going to the World Cup that will probably be starting for their teams and playing a lot of minutes. So that should give us an advantage in the new year.
Kimpembe and Ghana haven't been playing ahead of Saliba. Saliba's been playing.
Yeah. And that's up to the water carrier at France. What do you call it? Deschamps. Is that his name? Yeah. Deschamps. They used to nickname him the water carrier for his team. Tony, what's your thoughts on the World Cup advantage for us?
Hopefully, for Brazilians, they don't get tired. They'll probably have a long run. Even though they won't be playing, they'll still be over there still
Yeah.
drains for players. And it
Not as
means,
much as being out there in the heat playing, though.
yeah, but they'll still be there in the heat training, whatever they're doing. So they'll be there. The problem is they probably won't be available for the early January games where we'll need them. We'll definitely be missing Jesus when we play Newcastle. So that game might be a loss. Because I don't have much faith in Eddie, especially going against
Why wouldn't Jesus be
United or
playing?
Spurs. What?
Why wouldn't Jesus be playing against Newcastle?
If he goes deep, if Brazil
Deep
gets
in a
to
World
the final,
Cup because it'll be short time.
we don't know that. We can only sort of make assumptions, right? I mean, that's
But the season we're only halfway through. The amount of. I mean, yeah, they'll be more tired, but they're not going to need holiday because the season's halfway through.
Mhm.
They haven't finished. They haven't played a whole season first, where they normally would with the World Cup.
To me, this almost feels like a second preseason. For the
Yeah.
season is going to start December 26th for us.
When we're going to get problems is we're going to get problems towards the end of the season. That's when we're going to start getting problems. When legs are going to start to get tired is in April and May. That's when they're going to get really tired.
Yep. So to that end, let's talk about the January window. I mean, Maher was talking about 3 players. I mean, definitely we need 2. Sam, what do you think?
We definitely need at least 2. We need in terms of numbers, we need a central midfielder, defensive midfielder who can, break lines and actually tackle, do well, and is a bit dynamic. As we've said 100 times, finding someone as good as Partey is going to be not impossible. Who's going to be satisfied with not playing many minutes or rotation, but we have to find someone who at least can come in and do a decent job in central midfield. We have to do that, and we also have to find another striker for me. We have to have another striker who can be ahead of Nketiah, because Nketiah is garbage. So
And
we need
Trossard
to
would
have
fill-
someone who can score goals. Because Nketiah
Trossard.
can't.
Sam, I've actually got the perfect candidate, and it's not the one we're thinking of. Do you know who we can bring in that's perfect?
Who?
Ronaldo.
We're going to turn the colony into a fucking old people's home.
Yeah. I had thought we would talk about Ronaldo a little bit as well, a little bit later. Yeah, but for me,
Can we sign him on a 3-month contract?
no,
3-month contract.
I don't think it would take him. I'm not
3-month contract for 100 million or something.
For 3 months. You're
No.
crazy.
I think Trossard's a good shout. I think, of course,
Yeah.
news of Tielemans is coming out again, and of course,
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Mudryk.
Never-
Are you breaking the news on Yuri? Is that what it is, Ray? You're just still have your heart set on Yuri?
Yuri Tielemans. I think he would improve our depth.
I think we'd have got him already. I think we'd have got him in the summer if we wanted him. I think we would.
Here we go.
We would have got him in the summer if we wanted him. I don't think we're going to go for him.
What about Mudryk for about 60 million?
No, too much.
Nah,
Modric.
too much of a risk, like Tony's saying.
The
You're
Croatian
talking Luca.
or the Ukrainian? Luke.
Oh, him.
No,
No,
not Luka Modric.
Modric. No, I
Modric.
like him
Modric.
a lot, but I think he's too expensive. They're talking about over 80 million or something like that. They want.
Yeah, there would have to be a serious negotiation there in the transfer window. Any other names? Danilo maybe is a name that keeps popping up as well. But for sure, we need a couple of players in
I gotta get
January.
Ivan Toney.
Ruben Neves. If it's not too much.
He's not in prison.
I still think we need 3. We need a striker, defensive mid, then a center back,
Right.
because Rob Holding's not good enough. If Gabriel goes down, we're fucked, because you'd have more than likely Holding playing next to Saliba, unless he finally moves White back. Then you have Tomiyasu, who's injury prone. Back there is right back, so we definitely need a center back.
Really, this is a decent point. Medrick has Vlahovic written all over. Again, Vlahovic vibes all over it. You know, we've seen a lot of the interviews where he's basically saying, "Arsenal, come get me," right?
Well, Vlahovic didn't say anything about Arsenal. I think that's the point. But Mudryk has, apparently. So, I don't know.
Okay, so the final point, Sam, the final point out of 5 that makes me feel confident Arsenal can sustain this 5-point lead over City is we're getting goals from all over our team. We're getting goals spread around our team. City are, I think, dependent on Haaland, dependent on Foden and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I think I think City still have a lot more firepower across the team than what we do. It's just they play a bit more in towards Haaland now, and Haaland is getting the majority of their goals because they actually have a proper, forward striker now. One proper, high pressing striker. So they can actually play that way, and he's scoring lots of goals for them. So, but they've still got firepower across the whole team. But yes, we've done well in also now spreading more goals across the team. It's been essential since Jesus has stopped scoring goals. Jesus is still playing well, setting up a lot of our play, but unfortunately stopped scoring goals. But we've got other players who've stepped up, right? Like Ødegaard is scoring more goals now because he's getting into the box more. Partey has been hitting the target finally instead of just whacking down jumbos on the way into Heathrow. And we see Saka score some decent goals as well. I think it's a good sign that we're spreading.
Saka, Gabriel's.
We score. We haven't done so well on set pieces this season, in scoring from corner free kicks, but so far this season. But Gabriel, and Saliba, they'll probably get a few headers for us as well. But you're right, Ray. I think you look at every title-winning side, and you see that one of the keys is that they will have goals across the team.
Yeah.
That's why City have struggled as well.
Stan, you must be reading my notes.
Everybody.
I've got ESRLANS also, like a new signing, Emil Smith Rowe. Mahir, as we said, listen, Haaland's going to score a lot of goals. Foden's going to get a decent amount of goals. But we should have 5 or 6 players that will get 10 Premier League goals for us, Mahir.
Yeah, you guys know who I call Gibraltar, but Gibraltar's no more Gibraltar anymore. I can't even doubt it. I was screaming Madison. Hey, yo, let's still go get Madison. Let's bench. Oh, my God, but you guys just turning me inside out and roasting me on a flame like a marshmallow.
That's right. That's right. You didn't rate Ødegaard, did you?
No.
Mahir
now,
will own it. When he's wrong, he will own it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You guys know. You guys know me. I love being proved wrong. And so far, so good.
Yeah.
I just keep looking forward. Like, can we just go one step at a time? So now when it's vital for us to be signing players in key positions, which is at least minimal 4 players, not even minimal 2. You guys are going a bit too low there. Minimal 4. Can we go and go get this done? If it has to be Premier League players that are proven, the Tielemanses, Neves, the Tonys. I can't have an opinion on Mudryk as I unfortunately have not seen a lot of him, if anything at all. And Danilo as well as a midfielder. But I mean, go get proven experience then. Go get proven experience. I'm sure something like that is going to take us over the line. Imagine we win the league. Oh my days, I'd be crying. I'd have my father shouting at me, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying? It's only soccer."
We'll all cry together.
You
The
can
Arsenal
peel,
fans circle,
Yes,
we'll cry
exactly.
together.
you can peel some onions,
No,
man.
seriously.
Okay,
Yeah.
chop some onions up. Doing it. It's the onions. I told you.
No, no onions would be needed, Ray. No onions would be needed. As you guys know, my
Onions
cousin
and
was the one that got
turnips.
me into. And the turnips also.
With tea bags.
Tony, Sam, Ray, you guys know me so well, and the guy who got me into following Arsenal. I mean, I wouldn't be here on the pod with you guys. I would be on. Lord knows I would, even if I would have a pod. But he got me into supporting Arsenal, and I've loved every second of it. And for us to, yeah, I'm telling you now, I'm tearing up already thinking about. I would actually be crying, actual bloody tears,
Mhm.
where people would think there's something
Right
wrong
with
with
you,
me
bro.
because.
Right with you.
Yeah.
Yo, because it would be so much more than just winning a title. Yo,
The amount of shit we've gone through, my God, we've gone through some real shit the last few years.
it's some real shit, and from
Right.
everybody.
Yeah.
It has been too long till we won the title. It's been 18, it'll be 18, 19 years.
Yeah.
If we do it soon enough. But listeners, part of me is still, I think it's a good thing as well. We have the prospect or the specter of City, and we don't know if they're going to put a run of 15 wins together, 12 or 15 wins together,
No.
which they're capable of doing. So we're not getting excited about it because we know it's possible. City have done this before, but we also know we're better than what our rivals have been saying about us. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I told you, Mahir, I told you at the start of the season when we got Gabriel Jesus, we got Sinchenko. What did I tell you? I told you all of the numbers of the players around Jesus, those numbers will improve. Saka's going to get goals. Martinelli's going to get goals. Now we see Odegaard leading in goals scored for the team at this point.
that's crazy.
6 goals
That's
in
crazy. And
14 games, something like
you
that.
know,
Odegaard.
the beautiful thing about it is, Gabriel's not just an out and out striker. Yeah, our rivals are gonna banter. Oh, he hasn't scored in such a long time. Even our fans. Oh, what if? Why is he on such a gold drought? But you know what? He's a team player. I've seen him at left back. I've seen him at right back. I've seen him in the midfield. I mean, even Didier says he agrees with me. It will all come out. I won't be able to hold back. Yep.
If we
Yep,
win the
we're
title,
gonna have.
we know what City have pushed Liverpool to in the last few years. Maybe City's not the team they were in the last few years, but they're still very formidable for me as well.
100%. 100%. But I think, personally, Sam, I think the four of us and Stan and all of our old guests, we come and have a massive one for the
Yeah.
last few games. If we still
Definitely.
there, like the last 4 or 5 games, like mad watch alongs, with the whole squad. Those blocks
Yeah,
will be
we're gonna wrap up the league with 4 games to go. It'll be easy, no problem.
That would be
Oh
amazing.
my days.
That would be amazing. Absolutely
we're kind of-
amazing.
We're in the point where we're kind of dreaming a little bit here. Tony,
Yeah.
Arsenal spreading goals around the team. Tony,
It's nice to see you have Gabrielle back there that's lit league with 7 defensive goals the last 2 seasons. He's seeing Zaka finally score 3 goals this season. He's usually good for 1 a year. Odegaard with 6. I had predicted to get 11 this season. Looks like he's going to get more than that. Hopefully Smith Rowe comes in because at one point he was the most clinical striker of a ball of the Premier League last year. So he'll be valuable if he can stay fit. But even though the goals are balanced, it'd be nice to see Jesus get more. But we definitely need somebody that can challenge Jesus for that spot. We definitely need a striker just because you have the FA Cup coming up, knockout rounds of Europa. So you'd have the 3 competitions, all super congested fixtures. So we're have to be ready, hit the ground running in January. I still think we need a player or two, but it's nice to see the goals spread around. Saka started slow. Now he's getting going. He'll be double digit. You got Odegaard, which will easily be double digit. I thought Martinelli would have more than he would at this point this season. Definitely another double digit guy. So there's definitely players there, plenty of goals in them. So
Yeah, the front four, Tony, should have 10 goals plus by the end of the season. Erdegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus should have 10 goals. And we're looking for maybe another member of the team or squad to have 10 goals as well. If you get 50 goals alone from those 4-5 players and you chip in with other players, we score 70, 75 goals this season. That will carry us very far.
yeah, that's getting up there with Gary's 77 he predicted a few seasons ago.
Yeah, a few seasons ago when it didn't seem possible. Now, combining that, as you said, with our defense at the back, Saliba has just slotted in very well with Gabriel. It's difficult to know from one game to the next. Saliba has a great game and covers for Gabriel. Gabriel has a great game and covers for Saliba. So that's a good partnership, in my opinion. They work together. We know certain players don't go together. Rob Holding and Saliba, for instance, right?
Yeah, it'll be scary when Saliba, if he picks up another red card, he got 6 games not to get a yellow. So he doesn't face suspension. Same with
Does that reset in the new year, Tony?
at 20 games.
At 20 games. So there's a few players that are on 4 cards right now. Gabriel Jesus being one of them, Saliba being another one. So the likelihood that we see Eddie Nketiah up front will be quite possible in the new year. Okay. All right. That's a little bit of foreshadowing there. Thanks very much for that, Tony. It's supposed to be a little bit upbeat, but that's okay.
Hey, I'm just telling you the facts there. On
Yeah.
4 cards, got 6 games to go without getting them. It's gonna be hard the way, especially the way Jesus plays. I still think he's leads the league 4 fouls and fouls committed against. He definitely doesn't mind getting dirty. He's one of those dirty, gritty South American players.
Mm-hmm.
Saliba, I'm surprised he has that many cards just because he just doesn't look like he ever making those really hard challenges, but he does.
Yeah.
Hopefully he learns to kind of back off. But like I said, with 6 games to go, it's going to be hard to keep.
I think the biggest problem for Saliba is when he uses pace and he comes across a winger and the winger decides to go down because he knows he's not going to get to the ball. So what's he going to do? Try to get himself a free kick. And in that situation, the referee is more likely than not to give a yellow card in that situation. And going into September now, we were saying at the end of August, Arsenal won 5 games, 15 points. City had dropped 2 points against Newcastle. There was just 2 weekends of games in September due to Her Majesty's passing away. We had a postponed game with Everton, and City had a postponed game with Tottenham. On the weekend of September 4th, we know what happened up at Old Trafford for us. We lost that game 3-1. I thought we were a little bit naive. The next day, actually, that was the day after City had drew 1-1 with Villa. So
I remember one thing you said after that game, after my pretenders and contenders, you said we were pretenders, right?
Yeah, I did. At the time. That was the 6th game in the season. I thought we were a little bit naive, and what it showed me in particular is that Sambi Lokonga is not ready to step into Partey's role. And as Sam said earlier, I don't think there's many players in the world that can step in for Thomas Partey and do
No.
what he's doing for us
No.
right now. You know, are we being a little bit harsh on Sam?
I think so.
I think we've finally realised, like we've said a few times before, that Sambi Lokonga is not a Thomas Partey type player. He's not. He doesn't suit that role. He's more of a forward, type player. So we definitely need to bring in someone else who can be, dynamic and tackle. Win some balls. We need that who can be more defensive, lie deep in that midfield position like Partey does. That doesn't necessarily have to be a Partey's level, but someone, of course, of a good ability. We just need someone who can come in and fill that role, because El Neni, for me, even though he's a great professional, he does his job. He's not really good for consistency. If we lose Partey for more than a few games, El Neni's not going to be, what we need. We need someone else who can do that job by himself, because that's the problem with, as we know, we have to change the way we play in midfield when Partey goes. We have to drop Xhaka back deeper to be more of a double pivot.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that dynamism that Partey has. So if we bring in someone who's dynamic, we can keep that single pivot and keep, playing the way we play now, which would be vital. Because if we have to change our tactics, that's the one thing I can see can be a real problem going forward this season. If we lose Partey for a longer period, we have to change our tactics and go to a deep double pivot. That's where we're going to start losing games or losing points, and that's where we could lose the title. So definitely first choice for me, someone who can come in and do a similar type of job that Partey does, and we also definitely need a backup striker who can come in and even if they have to challenge Jesus, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with, every top team in the world should have competition for each position.
Yeah.
So even if you have to bring in someone who's, top tier, who's going to challenge Jesus for goals and playing time, we should do that, because having to play Nketiah again is just not going to win us the title.
Yeah, then you could rest Martinelli or Saka by putting Jesus on one of the wings. That's an option.
Yeah,
we bring in another striker.
You can probably like Jesus, like we saw how effective Jesus became when he went out left and Martinelli went into the middle. When they changed a bit, all of a sudden, that's what threw. Who was it we played last? God, my memory's terrible right now.
Wolverhampton Wanderers.
It threw them off completely, because they were defending so well, but then when they changed around, that was it. They played really well. So, that's Jesus has that in him. He can play on each side.
We've seen that 4 or 5 times this season where Martinelli's went in the middle. It's worked. We also seen where they've put Eddie Nketiah in the middle, moved Jesus out. Hasn't worked as well because Eddie can't score. So,
want to welcome Russ to the show. And
hey, Russ. I just say Russ must be creaming himself now with the Qatar World Cup with all these conspiracies. He must be like, what conspiracy can I talk about now? It must be. It must be absolutely. It must be
Mr. Bungle
himself.
Mr. Bungle in the house, and Stefan's here as well.
Stefan here as well. I didn't see Stefan come in. Is he here?
Yep. Mr. Bungle. Tony, you need your weekly cricket lessons from Riddy. Listen, we look at our squad and we know that's not a title-winning squad. Sambi, Eddie, Holding, Cedric. These are players that you can't win a title with if they're going to be playing meaningful games. And last 2 seasons, Thomas Partey's played 24 games in the Premier League. 24.
Symbol has a question you have the answer for, right?
What's that?
What happened to Matt?
Yeah, so here we go. I'll bring up what's happened to Matt. That's a good question, the Assemble. I have a banner here for it. Farewell to Matt. Best of luck to Matt. Listen, he had family and work commitments, so he's decided to step away from the channel, not be able to be on the podcast, be a panelist on the podcast, and not be involved in Twitter too much as well. So we wish Matt all the best. We know he will be with us in the chat box from time to time when time
Better
allows.
tell us what fucking Sunday dinner is.
So, as with other podcasts where people disappear, it's not being acrimonious or any kind of falling out or any kind of rivalry going on. It's just been a situation where a person cannot devote the time to this is their hobby. We do this for fun, right, Sam? It's not.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I was in the same position as well. I was running my own channel in the pandemic for a little while, and just didn't have the time to do it properly. There's a lot of work that goes into it that people don't see, in the planning of it, planning to get people on and what you're going to talk about, how the time is going to be used. There's a lot there involved that people don't really see, but Matt, who's coming on just as a guest, he became a lot more busy with work. I think he had to travel a lot more with work, a lot more work commitments. Yeah. And of course, he still wanted to be with his family as well, naturally. And so that's why Matt decided he just couldn't really take part in the same way as he used to, and decided to step back and focus more on his private life. And that's 100% behind that. That's absolutely fine. And he'll still be coming back in the chat box now and again, and he'll be probably taking part maybe in a pod now and again as well when he has some time. But yeah, absolutely 100% understand.
Ray was being a diva there, it sounds like.
What? Stan said something funny though here.
That's what I'm saying. You're being a diva.
Matt did a tell-all interview with Piers Morgan, so Ray just ripped up his contract. He came back to Arsenal fan circle, and things just weren't the same. The facilities weren't the same.
He was the same level-headed one of us, didn't we? I think we might have got to him a little bit as well.
I will say that I look for level-headed, balanced contributors and panel members. You're all family here.
They're hard to find, Ray. They're hard to find.
Hard to find, and Matt was more on the Arteta side than most.
Did you see Russ's comment for you, Sam?
Russ's comment?
Yeah, I know Russ. Oh, Russ loves me. I know. He asked me for an autograph picture the other day. So I had to send him a picture of me naked, and he loves it.
Rocking out with your cock out.
So listen, that's the deal with Matt, and I wanted to mention it as well. So listen, we wish Matt the best.
Bungle knows as well. Bungle asked me to sign his tits the other day. I had to sign his tits.
Damn, you're getting popular.
I know,
sexy Sam.
Yeah, I know. It's
so
I can't walk outside. I can't walk outside. I've got paparazzi fucking in my bushes outside.
And before Matt told me about his decision, I was reminiscing about some of his podcasts. So Matt almost, the style he had, Tony, he would ask himself questions and then he would answer those questions. Am I on board with Arteta? Yes, I'm on board with Arteta. Could we have done better there? Yes, we could have done better there. So
you brought Matt in when I was down a leg in the hospital doing rehab.
Is that what happened?
Come back, and then there's this new guy.
I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah, you got a replacement for me.
I didn't. Was that the timing, Tony?
Yeah, that was the timing.
Okay, it was just unfortunate timing then. It was not contrived or conspired.
Ray found a fucking replacement for me.
So yeah, that's the situation with Matt. We all don't have a lot of time in our life to do.
Yeah, I'm surprised everybody's wife and loved ones like you do this as much as we do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I know I've got a couple hours each week, twice a week to do this. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? And everyone has to find the balance for themselves, what works and what doesn't work. So we wish Matt the best. We hope to see him in the chat room moving forward. And Tony wants to know what he's having for his dinner each time, right, Tony?
Yep. Gotta know what was for Sunday dinner.
Yeah, I always wanted to know that. Now, according to Riddy, he was the only sensible one of us. Oh dear. Oh well. Riddy's going to miss him.
Yeah, so
Really can go bore him to death with cricket scores.
watch for that Piers Morgan interview. Will be dropping soon. Soon.
Piers Morgan.
Ray laid the smackdown on that.
Brady's last comments good.
The assembles are. I knew you lot would have got them eventually. Hendon Gunner said, breaking news. I saw this, but I don't know if it's true or if it's not true. Qatar have banned Harry Kane from wearing the One Love armband in the tournament.
Jesus, they're going to start telling people what to wear now. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
The trickiest thing they did, only thing I want to mention about the World Cup is 2 days before it kicks off, let's not sell beer. We said we were going to sell beer. Now there's no beer.
Yeah.
Ray and Matt had a loser leaves town match. Mr. Bungle got banned permanently for spamming. I don't know what they are on about.
Oh God, he loves spamming people. He does. That's probably what he did.
Matt's a good guy, says Tom.
Apparently, I'm like Jeremy Clarkson replacing Daniel Craig as James Bond.
No, you're good, Sal. You're good.
Put up Russ's last comment, Ray.
Russ's last comment. Okay. Matt lost. Oh, here we
A
go.
pinata on a
Matt
pole
lost a
now.
pinata on a pole match in Duluth, Minnesota. So Matt here, I told you about Matt. Matt, we were just talking about Matt taking the time out for the time being. I don't know if he'll ever come back. Maybe one day he'll come back to the channel. He'll be on from time to time. If he does find time to be on, he'll be on with us. But for now, for all intents and purposes, we wish Matt all the best, Mahir.
Oh, 100%, 100%. That's our guy. That's my G. It's our G. And that's part of family because, like I say, everybody's contribution that we've put into the channel ever since we began, just characters all over the place. And you can't live without characters and family. Family. We've grown so close. We've grown as a brotherhood, basically. And as a family together.
Mahir's got a great point. This is like the Arsenal fan circle family. We've all got our different roles. You got quirky uncles, weird grandfathers, fucking crazy fucking grandchildren, and all that. We're all the different, like a family. We're all different. Like your own family. You always got people in your family you don't really like, but you have to put up with them.
Yeah, exactly. Matt was with us only on loan, but Ray decided not to trigger the option to buy. I thought people had the right to believe different beliefs. Western hypocrisy at its best. Different people, different beliefs. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Exactly. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, as long as your opinion doesn't become too offensive and whatnot. But yeah, that's Matt. We do hope we see him in the future, Mahir.
Oh, 100%. Good luck. All the best to him as well.
He's a great guy. Matt is a great guy.
And yeah, man. We love the guy. Love him, my G.
Yeah, and like I said, in most some other YouTubers, it's always like a controversy or some kind of acrimonious breakup. Gundit News, you're going in the chat. Okay, Mahir's going to go in the chat.
And away he went, just like a fucking badger up a train pipe.
He doesn't say goodbye. He just
fucking roadrunner right out of there again. Meet
me. Beep, 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 beep.
All right, so that was September. We lost to United. They drew 1-1 with Villa. They have.
What are we doing now? Where are we now, Ray? Tell us where are we on the Ray Road map?
We're on the Ray Road.
We're in the hunt for Red October, as Ray called it.
No, early September. Well, because on the 18th of September, we beat Brentford away from home. Now that was a good performance, Sam.
I thought you were done with September already.
Now, well, we can go into October. The hunt for Red October, Sam. Then
Yes.
we had a lot of
Sean
games. in
Connery with
October.
his crap, like Sean Connery with his crap Russian in a Ridley Scott film. It was Ridley Scott, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And,
go into October with a 1 point advantage over City, but the questions would be asked with Tottenham and Liverpool coming in quick fire games.
October, yeah, October was a month. I think everyone before October was like, "That's the month, right? That's the one."
Yeah.
And it was like, if we can get through that one with with a lot of points and some good performances, we'd all be happy and we'd all be taking Arsenal a lot more seriously. And that's what's happened, right? We got through October really well. We got some good results, a lot of points. Started to get a bit of clearance at the top of the table. And now in November, it's given us reason to believe, right? So I think I think we passed the October test very well.
Yeah, definitely. The assembled. So who are the official panelists? Well, Sam, Tony, Gary, Mahir, Alonso. Am I missing anyone?
They're all having a dig at me now. I'm a dirty uncle, and I'm a knob. I'm really a good guy, and I love it. I fucking love it. I'd have all you guys over for dinner, and then I'll poison you all. Oh no, I'll pull out the best china and the best crystal. We'd have a great dinner.
Yeah. So Sam, listen, our fans were saying October would be so difficult, but also our rivals were waiting and had been waiting for us to stumble.
I can't believe we've actually this season is the best ever for Arsenal in modern football history for us.
Yeah.
He's got better starting record than Wenger ever had. We've drawn one game and lost one game. I mean, it's incredible. It's the start of a season that it's nearly perfect, right? It's not far from being perfect. So it's absolutely astounding. We're definitely performing well above expectation. That's we have to be honest and say that this is well above expected. So that's where I'm a little bit worried, where after Christmas, I hope for whatever reason could be that our form and our play doesn't dip, doesn't take a bit of a dive.
Yeah.
Because so far we've been flying so high. I don't want that balloon to burst. But yeah, I mean, so far it's just been absolutely fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Reddy said, Sam, are you coming to the home friendly against Juve next month?
I'm not sure yet. I've got to see what's happening.
The Emirates era finally kicks off as Gazidis had premised Sam Trophy's top records.
Yep.
Sam Trophy's top records. Yeah, so Tony, we showed the mentality. This is a month where we showed our mentality. I thought you go into August, you got 5 games that are winnable, right? You play Man United, you're a little bit naive in that game against Man United. You beat Brentford in good style, but then October comes the test and the mentality to beat Tottenham after getting tied up 1-1. And then Liverpool Liverpool leveled the game on us twice.
Yeah, for me, I kept saying October's kind of determine our season. So what it be like after the new year, because with fixtures are be congested like October, just seems like we're playing every 2 or 3 games. That's a way to be into the new year. So we passed that test. Still would like a little bit more depth so we can do better. It was kind of risky with this thin squad, so we need to go get a few more players. But we passed it with flying colors. We did your hunt for Red October. Not sure where you came up with that besides October.
That's good. I like it. It's good.
I like it.
I like
I
that
like
reference. It's
It
a
wa-
good one.
my thoughts were we had 9 games in that month, and it was going to be difficult. So try to stay unbeaten for that month. Now, it would have been perfect if we hadn't drawn that game against Southampton, as Don Juan said. Welcome, Don Juan. We should have beat Southampton, that dodgy ref. But to beat Tottenham, beat Liverpool, Saka scoring that penalty, Sam, that's once again showed the type of player he is, and he's going to be for us.
Yeah, Saka. I think he's growing a bit more now. He's getting better at finishing, getting there. He needs to do a bit more, but yeah, I mean he's our. You'd probably say, arguably, he's probably our star player, isn't he? You know, the one that
Yeah.
we all
What
look
do you
up
call
to.
that player? What do you call the player? He's the face of the club. He's the
Yeah.
I forget the name.
Because he's so young, you know, because he's so young and he's got, you know, he's still, you know, got some development left in him. He could be even better. You know, he's what's it called? What the figurehead is it? The spearhead. What's it called? Talisman? I don't know. What do you want to call it?
Talisman. That's it. The talisman.
Yeah.
And you see a left back, and then maybe a midfielder doubling up on him in every game now.
Yeah, and see, teams are playing. You see that I've noticed tactically the teams this season are playing more. That you know they're doing more to stop Saka play. They're doing more to try and stop that side of our play, where we've been very effective. But that's where you got to give our team and you got to give Arteta kudos, because we switch play so quickly and we're just as good now down the left as we are on the right. Before it used to be just the right.
Yep.
We weren't so good down the left. But now we're good down the left, we're good down the right. So we can switch play so much, and that's where we're really hurting teams.
Yeah, exactly. On a rating 1 to 10, where would you grade us now for winning the Premier League? I'd say we are on a 6 at this point. I'd go 7. You know, I still have that slight doubt that Man City could overcome us, and you know, the City have done that to Liverpool in the past. So, what do you think, Sam?
That's a good question.
Higher than 7. Higher or lower than 7, Bruce Ford?
It's a good question because there's different facets involved there. But
Answer the fucking question already.
Fucking let me answer it then, you fucking geek.
It's
Anyway,
a number.
I would say 8. I would say 8 because statistically, when you see teams in our position, you know, teams normally end up winning the title.
Do you think we've grown up that much, Sam?
I think we have. I think we've got a good team now with a good winning mentality. I think we've got that in the team. Mm-hmm. I think they've learned now how to win games, how to dig deep. They've got that grit in them. And with Arteta's tactics and, you know, backing them up and everything, I think, you know, and taking that mentality, we have that one game at a time mentality that we also did with Wenger back during, you know, his best days. We had that one game at a time mentality, and it seems to be happening again. And yeah, I do think we have it in us. The only thing that's going to let us down, I was going to say, the only thing that worries me is the depth in our squad, because if we lose one or two key players, especially Partey for a period of time, all of a sudden that bubble could burst.
Yeah, injuries or suspensions would be critical. Listen, if everyone is enjoying Arsenal chat, slap a like on the video here on the live stream. Don Juan, I'll be watching Ghana and Switzerland games very closely, hoping they make an early exit. Especially that's our midfield right there, you know, Partey and Xhaka. And greetings, everyone. Stevens here, working right now, but have been listening in. Good show to listen to. Back to work now. Get back to work and be productive, Stephen. Get back to work. Mr. Tom enjoyed some Tony slapdown right there. Tony,
Brady's saying Sam needs to work on his vocabulary skills there.
Same question to you.
What do you mean? Geek is a perfectly fine word to use.
You could have used a lot worse, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to be a little
I can't see Brady's saying geezer or prick. He was Sam's a lot more colorful than that,
That was,
especially when he uses his
yeah.
southern drawl or his Texas accent.
Arsenal have a good starting 11, but the bench is poor.
Yes, exactly.
We can see it. If the fans can see it, then the club have to see it. And we'll talk a little bit about Edu and Ronaldo in a little
Oh.
bit.
To answer the question, I'll give us an 8.5. It's be hinging on the injuries, hinging on what we do in January, getting players in more depth, and most importantly, somebody that can score goals. We got to get a striker. We fucked up by signing Nketiah for 4 years on 100 grand. We're gonna be stuck with him. I don't know how you shift him on without paying part of his wages. It's gonna be a hard.
If we can find a striker that's going to slot in between Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah, that would be preferable to me. Sam, we used to worry about Bukayo Saka in particular going on England duty and looking around at the City players and saying, I want to play with that team. But can he really do that when we're 5 points ahead of them right now? I mean, future looks bright.
No, I think he's the one laughing now in that squad with all the boys there. I think he's the one laughing at them.
Yeah.
And I think they're looking. I think we are the next. I know this sounds. Don't get me wrong here, but I think I'm trying to put this. I think I'm trying to put this in like in a bit of perspective. It sounds really, really lofty and fucking pipe dreamy, but I think we are coming into now. If our team stays together, when we get a few more players in our squad, and we really, really unite around that squad with Arteta, I think the Arsenal cycle is coming now. The next few years, I think, could be Arsenal's years, and I think Man City will maybe fall off a little bit. They're going to challenge. They're probably going to challenge us. It's going to be maybe it'll be a new. Remember, it used to be Arsenal, Man United, pushing each other every season. Maybe it's going to be us, City,
Newcastle.
Maybe Liverpool, maybe Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a 3-4 team race now, pushing each other right at the top.
I think you can take maybe off Newcastle. Newcastle is definitely the big one.
So I think it's our time is coming now where City are falling off a little bit there. Pep Guardiola, I think, might be on his way out. I really do. I think if Guardiola wins the Champions League, I think he's probably going to want to do something else. I really think that. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe go back to Barca and make them a force again. Who knows? With Pep Guardiola, the offers will not be little for him if he decides to move on. Listen, I don't think you're wrong in thinking that. It's okay to project ahead, Sam, and see what the future may hold for us.
Yeah.
And also realize that Premier League is very competitive, and anything can happen. Tony, in the middle of October, there was a pivotal weekend. We get a result against Leeds United away from home, and Cancelo makes a mistake up at Anfield, and Man City lose 1-0. And I think that's a key weekend here. We get a win that we didn't deserve, and City lose.
Yeah, the middle of October, we were sloppy, but we still had the grit. That grit we've seen all season. One of the things I've liked that we've done all seasons is if somebody scores a goal against us, we go right back and get one. You see a lot of fight. You don't see quit in the team. And the main thing you don't see that we've seen in the last 3-4 years, you don't see that fear. You don't see it just fold up shop, give up. Really, the only time you seen that was with the Man United game. But yeah, we didn't deserve anything on Leeds. They deserved the win. But we got the goal. Leeds doesn't score many goals sometimes. So
I still feel bad for Mr. Tom, but we needed those 3 points, and those 3 points could be valuable at the end of the season when everything's totted up.
Mr. Tom that shut Mr. Tom down for a few days, but now he's back. Say, Mr.
Back.
Tom.
He's back. He got his win at Liverpool as well. Sam, that was pivotal. We were lucky against Leeds to get away with a win. Saka with a great bit of skill, but we didn't produce anything after that.
No, we had a good first half, but the second half, especially, I remember we had a really bad time. And Leeds, I got to give credit to Leeds. They really pushed us, and they had a great second half. They changed things tactically. They brought on some good substitutions, and they really pressed us. They had a few good chances. They probably should have scored. They probably could have even won the game on a different day. You know, so it was I think that was one of the toughest games we had this season against Leeds, especially that second half. It really did push us, but we came through it, and that's a sign of a team that you know is doing well when you can come through something like that.
And I think it was around the time when we were trying to navigate the Europa League and using a lot of our starters as well, and mixing the strength of the team in the Europa League as well. We tired out in the middle of October, and the next game we have a 4-point gap over City at that point. Next weekend is Southampton. We didn't play very well. We go goal out pretty early, but then Southampton came back on us, and City were able to beat Brighton 3-1, so they narrowed the gap to 2 points. And then we finished October with a really good win over Nottingham Forest, and Reece Nelson. I guess we'll remember that game for Reece Nelson and a Thomas Partey goal as well. That was just like the Spurs goal.
Yeah, Reece Nelson is all of a sudden out of nowhere found 3 goals lately.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we need, right? I mean, we need someone to come out of nowhere and score a few goals, definitely. So, yeah, it's great to see Reece Nelson actually find a little bit of spirit again. You know, he's been down and out for a long time. He's been out on loans, hasn't really worked out. But to come back like he did now and get all of a sudden out of nowhere, just score a couple of goals like that, I feel very happy for him. The jury's still out in terms of whether we should be keeping him or not, because we've got to see whether this is something he can maintain. I'm a bit doubtful that he can maintain this what he's doing, but right now, you know, if we bring on we were thinking, who do we buy, you know? But right now, Reece Nelson is doing a decent job.
Yeah, we're all kind of wondering who to go get out as a winger. Now it doesn't look like we need one as much since he's finally showed up. We've seen Reece Nelson. We've seen little bits and pieces of about 4 seasons ago. Then he went out on loans. The loans weren't helping him much until this last one. I've always liked the player. Always thought we should keep him, loan him out, and sold Eddie. But here we gave Eddie a fucking 4-year contract.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you have a problem with Eddie's contract.
I think we have a wee problem there. Yeah.
Russ says, I remember this referee. It was pretty bad at Southampton. Russ said, ask Sam about the dodgy ref.
No, we've had some bad refereeing decisions this season. I can't quite remember what happened in that game, but yeah, we've had some bad refereeing decisions against us this season. We've also had a lot of decisions go our way as well.
Russ has a notebook of 87 bad referee decisions against us this season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he seems only. That's the thing with Russ though. He doesn't see. He's not a very balanced scientific approach because he only logs all the decisions that don't go our way. He doesn't seem to record the ones that go our way, even though they're wrong. So anyway,
Mr. Tom said we assisted Saka's goal and missed the penalty. I'm increasingly convinced they helped Ivan Toney win a 1-0 Arsenal correct score bet. Samuel said, do you think Arsenal should have waited a little bit longer with Willock? I was a big fan of Joe Willock, but at the time
he's in the role where we've got Erdegaard and what's his name, Vieira though. So yeah,
right, yeah.
Me and Ray both thought it was a mistake. It hasn't been much of a mistake so far. No. Still really like the lad. Seen a lot of him when Emery was here. Arteta didn't seem to want to take the time with him like he has with a lot of the young players. Arteta just don't want to do the coaching. He wants to go out, buy the winning mentality, buy proven players. That's why you're seeing that 23 to 25-year age group. A lot of them former captains or national captains, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I like the player so far. The loan hasn't, or the sale hasn't went great for him. So it's looking like we didn't do bad business. But like Sam said, they're not much of a place with him. He forgot Smith Rowe slots in there too. So it's a crowded place up in the attacking midfield. So
He scored. I mean, it's recent memory. He scored the goal, the winning goal for Newcastle last game before we broke here for the World Cup. But looking at the last two seasons, the last season 29 games, only 2 goals, and this season 15 games, 2 goals with 2 assists. So his production's not really been there in terms of goals and assists. So I don't think we've done. I think we did the right thing by him. Right thing by the club in terms of letting him.
yeah, we finally got some money, 20
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, and that's the way we have to move going forward. Now we have to be. We're gonna have to let some players go that the fan base maybe don't want to let go. Maybe Kieran Tierney, maybe a player like that. You know, there's going to be some difference within the fan base about doing such things, but the club is a business as much as
And that's the
anything
same
else.
thing. Another player I like, Oxley Chamberlain, we got 40 million for him.
Mhm.
Always thought he deserved more of a chance at the club. Wasn't given it. Now with Liverpool, he's injured most of the time, so that's
Yeah.
another good one.
Listen,
That's about only 2 ones out of the last 10 years of a decade of just bad deals, buying off contracts, having players on huge wages like Aubameyang and Ozil, being stuck with them, having to bench them because they're not doing what they're needed. But it's sad to see players like Willock and those go, but it will be. But it
It's
is
the right
what it is.
it's the right thing to do as well. And there's players we're going to like I'm saying, players we like right now that will have to be sold in the future, and we have to get used to that. The assembled, you're right, like Nketiah. The jury has been out on Eddie, but the jury's delivering their vote very soon on Eddie and Nketiah. And the
Yeah.
last 6 months has not been good for Eddie. The last 4 months has not been great for Eddie. He hasn't really stepped up. You wouldn't say he's been one of our better players, Sam, would you?
No, definitely not. He's disappointing, unfortunately. I can sort of understand, even though I wasn't really for it. I can sort of understand why he got a contract, because he got that contract on the back of showing some improvement and scoring a few goals last season. And you know, he does do a lot of good things, but he just doesn't do what he should be doing very well. You know, he needs to be scoring goals, and he just keeps missing and missing. I mean, he's just not clinical, and yeah, he's just not. He's not doing what he should be doing. Let's put it that way. That's the way you can summarize it for me.
Definitely.
Well, he does it. He just
And
can't
and
finish. That's the
and
problem.
so to be a title contending team, we can't have Eddie Nketiah as our second striker. It's just no other team contending for the title would have him as their second striker who comes in off the bench or comes in as soon as their main striker is not playing. No way. So that is something we need to address as soon as possible.
And as
You
much
ever remember, Sam, ever us having just 2 strikers?
When we had 2 strikers, we used to play 4-4-2 back in the day.
No, I'm just saying just 2 strikers.
just 2.
The depth. Just 2 strikers.
That's
Not
not
having
enough.
the third or fourth.
You're talking about no, we used to have several, didn't we? They weren't always that good when you sort of went to number 3, 4, and that, but we used to have at least at least have a few. But tactics have changed now, haven't they, Tony? That's it. We don't really play with two up front anymore. That's the thing.
The
When we
wingers.
4-4-2,
Exactly.
we had more strikers in the squad.
Yeah, but it's still strange to me. It doesn't feel right just to have two because one gets injured, one gets suspended, then you
Yeah,
just
but
don't
again,
have the depth there.
we're supposed to be able to play Martinelli as a striker. We're supposed to be able to play Saka as a striker if you need, you know.
Yeah, I think Martinelli's are really our second option. I think if something happens to Jesus or something like that, we'll see him move to the middle.
So I think we'll go another 15 minutes and get out of here. Want to thank Sam and Tony for their time. Tony's been itching to do another podcast since we didn't do one Thursday. Stan said here, players like Iwobi have found their level. I think it's okay for Iwobi and Joe Willock to go and have careers with other clubs. Almost didn't like how we feel about players. It should be more about the club, I always thought, but it is nice to see Iwobi doing well with another club. Don One said we need to be better at selling. Sam, do you think Stan Kroenke will open his checkbook and pen for January after our good start to the season?
Well, this is the big question, isn't it? To be brutally honest, I don't think we are going to see much happening in January, and I think that's mainly down to they probably want to save the money and build up a budget for the summer again. And also, I just think January is such a hard month to get players unless you got a player who's ready and willing to leave their club, who don't want to be at their club anymore. They want out. They actively want out of their club. If it's not that cut and dry, January is so hard because you're in the middle of a season. Players are bedded in. Managers are bedded in with their players. You know, they don't want to change things around halfway through the season. They're not going to let important players go halfway through the season. Even like I said, you know, a lot of these players who have families and that, they're not going to want to move, uproot their family and kids from schools and all that. That's an important part of a transfer process. That's not going to happen in January. So unless there's a player who is ready, dusted, ready to go, who's like, I'm finished here. I can't stand it anymore. I want to go. The family wants to go. Let's go. You know,
your boy.
Unless someone like that's out there ready to go, it's just not. I just can't see it happening. I really can't. The alternative to that is young talent. Yeah, you can always probably go and get a young kid. They don't have family and all that. Young talent. You can get maybe some kids in, but you know it's hit and miss, right? Unless you're willing to go for the absolute best ones out there that cost a lot, it's going to be a hit and miss again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget we got players like Odegaard in January loan. I think that's the way we're at to
he
be.
hasn't got a wife and kids, has he? And Real Madrid said they didn't want him. So
yeah, that's all. I know it doesn't follow your example there, but like I said, January.
Yeah, he was, like I said, but yeah, I said if a player like Odegaard is available, you know, who's not married, not kids, the club don't want him, you know, they're ready to offload him. If we can find a player like that, definitely go for it. But there's not that many around, right? There's really isn't that many around who have a good level, high caliber.
Yeah, that's what you have to look at is loan deals with players with expiring contracts, ones that want minutes or want to go win a championship. I think it's an easy project to sell, but the problem is I think we're kind of cash strapped. That's why we're on the watch list, the 10 teams on the financial fair play watch list. So I think, like Sam said, we're not going to go out there and spend the money. We might see a couple of loan deals. Be nice to go out there and spend money for at least a striker.
We might loan someone or we'll get a young talent in, like an 18, 19-year-old. We might get a couple of those. And yeah, that's depth to our squad, which is at least better than nothing. We can add a couple more players to our squad, but are they going to be at the level we want? That's the question.
Sam, why do you want Ronaldo so much? For us?
I wouldn't touch him with a 50-foot barge pole. Fuck you know.
Really, really, I personally have the blessing aside. Unfortunately, no matter how you cut it up, Nketiah is not Arsenal standard, but fair dues, he's a trier. I think when it comes to January, it's going to be tough. Arsenal fans will want players in the door, and it's going to be hard to find the right kind of talent to come in and help us. A compromise, we can find the compromise of about 2 serviceable players that are going to help our squad till the end of the season, and we do hope it's going to help sustain us through.
As long as one of them's named Yuri, right, Ray?
One of them has to be Yuri. Has to begin with a Y. Okay. Don Juan wanted Douglas Luiz, but he signed the contract with Villa now. And he made a mistake the last weekend. He made a mistake for Brighton. Brighton took the ball off him, Don Juan. So I think we dodged a bullet with Douglas Luiz, to be honest with you. Let's finish things out here with so we have a 2-point gap going into November, and the last 2 games, Sam, we beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and we beat Wolves at Molineux. 2 tough away games, and City had 2 easy home games, and they fell flat on their face against Brentford.
They finally dropped the points I said they were going to. They waited the last minute.
You're right, Tony.
Yeah, City, obviously, they shit the bed, didn't they? Didn't really work out very well for them. Bit of a strange game, that one against Brentford. They didn't really turn up. I mean, even at home, they just didn't seem to perform, did they? All credit to Brentford.
Almost like there was a World Cup on the doorstep.
No, it's more like
it was
more like train spotting, where he goes in there and shits the bed and flings it all over the family. That's what it was like, right?
All credit to Brentford and because and their manager, because they play football really well. I mean, tactically, they don't know exactly how to counter, and they really they made life difficult for City. You got to give them credit, but yeah. We went and beat Chelsea, which was a great result at Stamford Bridge, and then beating Wolves, who traditionally, even though they haven't been very good this season, traditionally Wolves at Molineux for us it's always been a tough fixture. We've always struggled there in recent seasons. So to go there and win that game, and it wasn't it wasn't the best of performances, but we still won. That's the type of game you want to win and get through if you're going to be a title challenger. So yeah, definitely so far it's been good as well. And just to wrap off the Ronaldo thing, he doesn't meet our criteria. Our criteria. He's a prima donna. He's we'll talk about egos and everything like Aubameyang was. Cristiano Ronaldo is like Aubameyang on fucking steroids. And then you got his wage packet. What he wants 600-700K a week. I mean, there's no way, and he's not even that good. Cristiano Ronaldo isn't that good anymore.
We've done this already with Ozil, Sanchez.
It's just
Aubameyang.
Nice.
We've done it.
The profile can't do this. Wrong. 37 years old. He's way too old as well. Even for just the rest of the season, no way. He would upset everything we're doing. He would fucking ruin it all like a fucking black hole.
Yeah. Man City at home to Fulham. They had the player sent off. We talked about João Cancelo getting sent off earlier in the podcast. They struggled to beat Fulham. They were lucky to beat Fulham with that Kevin De Bruyne dive. It was a blatant dive. I always feel players know the moment when they feel contact, they're going to go down. And, of course, the referee is going to bite on it. So they beat Fulham, luckily.
Unless it's Saka, because Saka's been getting the yellows. He started doing that last year. As soon as he feels contact, he goes down. We've seen him probably get 5 yellows from it.
And then Ivan Toney, beats Brentford single-handedly almost. Brentford played really well. I thought City didn't play well that game. So we have a 5-point lead now. And us going to Stamford Bridge, and truly one of those tough games to. If you're going to win a title, those are the kind of games you're going to look back at Stamford Bridge. You win a tight game, 1-0, you get out of there with a clean sheet as well. And we know Ramsdale likes a good bastard and clean sheet.
Yeah, we've been doing good against Chelsea lately, especially even at their place.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
then
nice
I
to
thought
see
we beat
one of
Wolves
those.
in a kind of different way, Tony. We beat Wolves by moving the ball around, as Sam said earlier. Martinelli coming inside, Gabriel Jesus going to the wing, moving their defenders around, and we get the win through Teabag and the assist that he gives to Erdegaard for those 2 goals.
Oh, you woke Tony up there. You piqued Tony's interest there when you mentioned teabag.
Yeah,
Special word of the day is teabag.
Teabag.
There's a Sesame Street. The word of the day is teabag.
And the number is 5. We brought to you is
Yeah, the number is 5, and the word
Thomas
is
Partey.
teabag.
Thomas Partey, probably our most valuable player this season, in my opinion. And I'll let Sam and Tony say who you think the most valuable player has been for us so far. We're 5 points ahead of City, and we've made 5 points as to why we think we could stay ahead of City in this podcast. Tony?
Yeah, Partey is kind of that engine that makes everything click.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who we can find to do that role. I think maybe we might have to do something creative, like try a White there if Partey goes down. But I think it's going to be very hard to find a replacement for him this winter. I always could go the Neves route, but I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think Tillman's really hopes do what Partey can do.
No, but he's going to help in other ways, I think.
Yeah, but I say Partey, the center backs, they've been up there. Then you can't forget Zinchenko and Jesus with their leadership. But those 5 players, any of them go down, any of them go missing, we're to be fucked. Especially Gabriel, because you have Rob Holding. Maybe you move White in there, try to keep a healthy Tomiyasu, which is hard. Then you have Cedric, which Ray wants to get rid of this winter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we will or not.
I think I saw something where he is going to move on in January.
Yeah, he definitely wants minutes. Barely getting them in Europa. Already out of the League Cup. You won't see him in the FA Cup. So, yeah, he'll be wanting to move. We just have to find players coming in. Main thing, just physio, rotate players right. I like the rotation Arteta's been doing in Europa. Except for, I think the main players are playing a little too many minutes. I like those 35-minute, 30 minutes left substitutions. Need to do that a little bit more in the Premier League. Try to keep these guys fresh. You got 5 subs. Make the most of them. A lot of the games we're still not making 5 subs, especially Premier League. Usually 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go. We make our first substitution. And like I said, you already have people like Saka over 1,000 minutes already. 3,000 last year. So have to be careful. But the main thing, just managing the minutes. And hopefully no injuries.
Managing minutes has been important for Partey, especially. You all can't leave while Tony's talking. Nobody can leave the chat room while Tony's talking.
Yes.
I saw a few people saying they're out. It's not because of because Tony was talking, right? Okay, Sam.
They must be cricket for Eddie to be leaving. That's the only thing.
Here's the task for you, Sam. You have to work that phrase in while talking about your player of the year so far for Arsenal.
Notwithstanding, God.
Only I could do it, but I haven't heard you do it yet. I haven't seen you do it yet. So it's over to you.
Okay, a player of season so far. So, say Erdegaard notwithstanding,
There you go. Did
I
it.
would say it's difficult to say. I've got 2 or 3 players I think have been very good this season so far, very influential for what we do. I think Jesus, even though he hasn't been great the last few games, I think the way he started the season for us was just so amazing. You know, he really, really got our attack going, you know, and it was so integral to the way we attacked and scored goals. He's definitely been way up there for me. I would say also Partey, because Partey allows us to play with the single pivot. It frees up so much of the forward players, so we can have that high press because he can dynamically clean up and intercept the second ball and loose balls. You know, he's such an important part of the way we play, and he has had a good season so far. He's had many good games, and he scored 2 fantastic goals as well from outside the box. You know, who would have thought that? You know, normally you have to close down Heathrow's flight path when he's playing. You have to shut down Luton and fucking Gatwick and Heathrow when he's playing normally. But no, he's lately he's been hitting the target. And he's had a very, very good season so
Sam,
far.
how many pigeons do you think he's killed?
Oh, I wish he would have killed all those fucking seagulls where I used to live anyway. But anyway,
just have a fucking about to buy 100 balls and
Single
just keep
pivot
having
has a nice ring
partake.
to it.
and another player I must say who I would also definitely put up there is Saliba. That kid has come in and he is arguably, I mean, yes, there are probably 2 or 3 other guys up there with him, but he's arguably one of the 2-3 best central defenders in the Premier League this season.
Mhm.
You know, arguably maybe the best. He's just come straight in and bossed it. He's like a Rolls Royce, and he's put so much stability in our defence. I mean, he has come in there and it's completely locked down our defence. You know, we've improved so much with him coming in. So they are, for me, it's very difficult to differentiate between those players. But if I have to choose one, then for me it's I'm going to go Saliba. I really am. I just love the kid so much. I think to come in from nowhere like that, you know, this is his first half season, you want to call it that, his first months in the Premier League, and he comes in and does this. For me, that is more impressive than anything. In total, when you look at the total picture of it, I think that is definitely the most impressive.
Yeah.
Still crazy. He's a homegrown player just now playing for us.
You can see from the middle part of last season where we put 31 points from 42 points, 31 points from 14 games. That we can do what we've been doing this season, or we could do what we've been doing this season if we just put it together. And we did something similar here with 37 points out of 42. You know, we slightly better. This is the standard we need to continue.
That's that little village in Wales again, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. A quick word then, and we'll get out of here, about Edu and the appointment, the first sporting director, Sam, that
Yes.
Arsenal's ever had.
He's Arsenal's first sporting director, officially title-wise, yes.
Does that really mean anything? I mean, he's just doing the job he's doing. It gives him a little bit more power. Right?
He's got a slightly different role now, has a slightly different remit. But what this comes from is we were going to be hiring a sporting director. That was a thing. There was, there were different names bandied around to fill that role. But because, everyone feels, I think Edu has done a good job and Arteta's done a good job, I think they've just decided to give Edu that role. and then I'm not sure if we'll have a technical director because Edu was a technical director.
Yeah.
Now he's a sporting director, which means he has the overall responsibility of the direction the club's taking, and also he has the whole. What that means is he has the whole academy as well, from Hale End up to the first team. He has responsibility for the development of the overall development. So he's got more of a player-facing, player interaction role now than technical director was more like the club as itself, where the sporting director is more with the players.
Yeah, we heard 3 or 4 weeks ago that we were to give him an extension. I guess giving him this new title was part of the extension. Probably easier to get him to sign the dotted line, give him a little bit more power.
I don't think we'll have a technical director. I don't think so, because that'd be someone else coming in that'll,
Hell, we don't know what half those guys do anyway.
Is it similar? Is it similar to giving Arteta the role of manager rather than coach? He gets a little bit more responsibility.
Yep.
In this case, Edu gets more responsibility by being.
Yeah, he was like I said, just saying. I also see Russ. I see Russ. I'm just explaining for Russ as well. His role until now was technical director, and so that means he's had more of a to do with the club, what goes on with the club, in developing the club. He's been helping Arteta with the team. There's been some team related, he's helped out, of course, with negotiations, targeting players, but it's been less of a player sort of facing, player interacting role. It's been more of a club based role where the club is going. But then now he's got sporting director, which now means he's responsible for the sporting side of it, the players. And that includes Hale End and up to the first team. He has to the overall development of the players and what we're doing as a team now falls under him, and that Arteta, of course, will be a big part of that. But I think they will leave the technical director role out. I don't think they'll probably bring someone in to do that. But they probably won't need to do that. They'll focus more on the sporting director side of it, probably.
Okay, I think it's a good thing moving forward that Edu and Arteta seem to work well together.
Yeah,
and it's something that can only be good for the club. We will look to tie down the players to new contracts as well. Bukayo Saka, Saliba, and I think Martinelli. I don't think any of them have been tied up yet. But Sam, I think we'll leave it there unless you have anything else to mention, Sam.
No, I just want to say thanks to everyone for taking part again in the chat. It's been great. It's a real good fun time and discussion today. It's going to be interesting to see when we come back now from the World Cup, what the players do, what kind of state we'll be in. We'll be able to pick up where we left off, or will there be that continental hangover we normally have, like coming back from the Champions League? Will it have that type of effect? It'll be interesting to see. I hope, of course, we pick up where we left off. Great to see. But it's been great to see everyone. It's been lovely to take part as always. And see everyone soon.
Word of the show is geek, as supplied by Sam, and the number 5. It's going to be.
I thought Teabag was word of a show.
Teabag's always going to be there with us, like Colonel Mustard, Tony. Listen, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens when players come back from World Cup duty, but also those players who have not been participating in the World Cup. We will have some kind of a tournament, a mini tournament, games behind closed doors for those players who are not participating. But right now, I guess they're on holidays, enjoying some time off and be ready for the new year. Tony, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts is that we still got plenty of business. Hopefully Edu isn't finding a new office or anything. He's just on the phone, making inquiries, seeing what players are available, help increase our squad depth, which we definitely need. but we can't do what we did last January and do nothing.
Hmm.
That cost us top 4.
Yeah.
So right now we're in a great position. It's nice to be talking about us being top of the table. This team reminds me a lot of the 08 team when we were cruising along. And here came Eduardo's leg break. We didn't have the right mentality after that. If we had a better mental fortitude like we do this season. And I think that's been the main thing. That's why you almost have to go with Zinchenko or Jesus for me, because the mentality's changed, and I think that's really down to those 2 players, what they bring in. Arteta didn't want to groom the players. He went out, bought winners, and that's made the difference of the season. You can see it in a fight. You see it. Another team gets the goal, we'll go right back, give a goal back, take the lead back. You see the fight. You see the grit. You seen it last weekend. Because any other time in the last 3-4 seasons, we would have probably drew that Wolves game. And
Yeah.
we would have lost that Leeds game. So right there's
Southampton.
5 points.
Hmm.
We'd be even with City. But instead, we had got that fight and fortitude. And to end things off, you got Matt taking time off for his family. And I kind of said it last week, since we don't have the football, we don't have club football. Go spend time with your family. Go do stuff you like doing. Walk your dogs. If you like me, go play frisbee golf and walk your dogs. If you like Matt, go eat your Sunday dinner. Your lasagna or your roast or whatever it is. Or if you're like Sam here, you can be on the show and watch Pornhub at the same time, so your face
All
and
right.
have no idea what's going on below the belt.
Hello.
I don't know if what Tony just said will keep you as the number one, as Don Juan as your number 1 fanboy or not. You know, maybe those certificates of authenticity as are getting ripped up and burned as we speak.
Yes, Stan, I need that's kind of been my
I
before
think
New Year's resolution. Start playing Xbox again. Haven't played it much. No football. Not many new shows on that I haven't finished watching so far. Referred a couple to Ray. I think Ray's liked some of the shows I've
yeah.
suggested to him.
We love Tony. Tony is the best. We do love Tony.
What about the rest of us, you bastard?
Well, listen, we all have our favorites out there. We do have.
Get a room. Get a room.
You've got your crew as well, Sam. You've got your crew.
No one likes me.
Tony, I think in 2008 we didn't have the mentality, the seniority that we have in this team right now. Partey, Granit Xhaka, Gabriel Jesus, and Zinchenko, and those kinds of players. So I think we do have that mentality to match, and I think we're playing football at a different level than the 2008 team. That was a lot of young players in 2008 as well.
Yeah, but we were definitely cruising. I thought we were to win the title, but the leg break happened. I think it's the best team we had. It's a pity we only seen him for that one season, basically. Derailed. So that shows you we need to go out. We need to get another striker. We can look for a first team striker, because you can always move Jesus to the wings. There are minutes to be had. And for the future of football, we don't know what's happened. We've never had this World Cup in the middle. of the season. Hopefully, this is the only fucking time it happens. No more stupid corruption that leads to this bullshit. I mean, they always knew it would be a winter World Cup because it's too fucking hot to play there in the summer. Fucking rubber melts. Fucking everything does. Players would be dropping like flies. So hopefully, this is the only time this happens. It'd be interesting to see what changes that changes our fortune. And be on the lookout for Newcastle. Newcastle probably sold up the top 4 spot now. They're probably 2 years ahead of schedule now. So they're going to be getting Champions League football, attracting more players, paying them with the wages. They're going to be replacing either City or Liverpool. I'm done, Ray.
Fuck, give him the last word. He fucking goes on for 20 minutes.
I'm making use of my words since Gary's not here interrupting me.
Spoken
Ray
like a man,
says Tony, Gary
Yeah.
starts fucking speaking. So
and
it's called last word.
spoken like a man who doesn't know when he's going to be on Arsenal fan circle again because
Yeah, I get surgery in 15 fucking days.
you do.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck with that. Listen,
Yeah, good luck, bro.
definitely. Thanks everybody for coming on in tonight. Didn't know if you'd all be watching the World Cup. Didn't want to talk Arsenal, but I think you want to talk a little bit of Arsenal. 36 days till 26th of December, and we are out of here. Sam, thanks for joining. Matt here.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Matt, we will miss you. Tony, say goodnight.
Good night, Tony. And that's what's for dinner.